Welcome into Track 'em Tigers. I'm Jay Coulter, joined by the coach, Ron Nelson. Before we get started, let's thank our sponsors, Extreme Power Sports and Jason Dyer. They're back in business. They're open again. No better people than those folks over at Extreme Power Sports.
It certainly is. And Jason, and I hope everything went great for him this weekend.
Yeah.
And I know it did, and I know he's pleased. And just thank you, Jason, for all you do.
Yeah, in the market for outdoor vehicles, anything like that, go by and see our friends. They're good Auburn people, Extreme Power Sports. Coach, it just seemed like last week they were saying 100 days to kick off, 30 days to kick off. We're in week 8. Week 8 already.
Unbelievable. It's, you look at the schedule and we're halfway through.
Yeah.
We're sitting here at 5-1, and you like to be 6-0, but with our schedule, if Auburn people would just be truthful with themselves, they say, "Hey, you're going to be 5-1 at this point." I think we'd have taken it.
No doubt. We're taking it right away. So you look at the SEC. Saturday was really a separation day for much of the SEC, for much of the country. You look at the SEC West. We got the regular characters. Alabama's undefeated. LSU's, we knew they were going to be good this year. They're better than we thought they would be. And then Auburn's right there hanging with them. So we've got that. You look over at the East.
Wow.
Here's a trivia question. Who's in first place right now in the East?
Only way I know this is because I heard it this afternoon. It's Missouri.
Missouri.
And,
undefeated in the conference. So you got Missouri, Florida, and Georgia. We know it won't stay that way. It looks like it's going to be a Florida-Georgia matchup in a couple of weeks, and then we go from there. Georgia, tough loss to South Carolina. The truth of the matter is they went out. It doesn't really hurt them that much.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of football left to play.
Yeah.
And I think what South Carolina proved Saturday is that if you're an SEC team, minus Vanderbilt, that you better be prepared to play, because every team's got athletes, and if you're not clicking on all cylinders, and they are, anything can happen. I mean, this week Arkansas has lost 2 very close ball games.
Yeah.
And to Texas A&M, and to last week, and it's just situation is, I know Auburn people talking about the big 3 we got left. You can't do that.
No.
I watched Arkansas Saturday night, and I mean, they was impressive.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can wear them down. Ole Miss, they're dangerous. Alabama just put so many points on them, but they scored 31 on Alabama, and so they've got athletes. So, I expect there's going to be an upset probably every week. Probably won't happen. I wouldn't be surprised if the quarterback situation at South Carolina, if Helinski can come back, that they're going to give Florida all they want.
Yeah, we'll
see. Is it at the Swamp or is it at Columbia?
That's a good question. Wait a minute. I may have it here in my notes here. Let's see. It is in Columbia.
You never know.
Yeah, never know. So,
and
I tell you, Georgia, I think, did the conference a service by losing, because, like you said, you can't just put the uniform on, show up, and expect to win. That, like you said, traveling out to Fayetteville on a noon game, man, that should set off all kinds of alarms. Auburn's a 16.5-point favorite. They're coming off a bye week. I'm the eternal pessimist, so I worry anyway.
Both of us are.
But this one, Auburn's got to be ready.
You got to be ready, because if you're thinking about LSU, you're going to get beat. And the positive about playing the Saturday game at noon, if you're going to have to play Saturday noon, you want it to come when you've got a bye week. Because you get everything in. You're not pressed for time. Half the game plan was probably put in from Arkansas last week, and then you got that. You got the chance to get your game plan in, and then you got a chance to fly on out, get there Friday, and then when you get there Friday, you want to make things as normal as you can. Just like you was at home.
Yeah.
So everything's the same. From that situation, I like that, and but. I read an article yesterday that Gus is 10-0 coming off a bye week, whether it be coordinator or head coach. And I think the bye week came at the perfect time. Number one, we got to heal some injuries, but then you got to reassess yourself, because when you get that grindstone, sometimes you get in some tendencies in what you're doing, and then you can go back and see that and create possibly a better game plan. So this is going to be an interesting game because Chad Morris knows Gus just like Gus knows Chad.
Right.
And so, I mean, the offensive minds are going to know each other. It's the defensive minds that's going to have to, prepare and adjust.
Yeah. Interesting story about Chad Morris. High school football coach in Texas actually succeeded Art Briles when he went to, I guess, Baylor. I guess he went straight to Baylor.
It was somewhere before Baylor.
Somewhere before Baylor. But anyway, when he moved up to college, Morris succeeded him, struggled his first year. Briles was a high school legend in Texas as a coach.
Correct.
He credits Malzahn with saving his career. He went and spent time in Arkansas while Malzahn was a high school coach. Malzahn taught him his offense. Fast forward, he succeeds Malzahn as offensive coordinator at Tulsa years later, goes to Clemson as offensive coordinator, beats Auburn a few years back, and now they can meet again.
Well, I mean, I think Gus had a lot to do with Chad getting that job at Clemson. Yeah. And even though he's not at Clemson anymore, Clemson is still running the same offense. And so, I mean, that just proves right there that the offense will work.
Yeah, and the coaching circles are very small, aren't they?
Very, very small. I mean, we all, back when in coaching, we're always going to get ideas from people. It's not a matter of copycatting. It's just a matter of doing what other people are doing that is successful.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be an interesting trip. It's one that I think Auburn has really got to go out there focused. Bo Nix has got a lot to prove. He didn't play very good in the Florida game, and he knows that.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to be the worst critic on him than himself.
Let's talk a little more about that. I had an opportunity to go down there. I was telling you before the broadcast. I went down to Gainesville, unfortunately. I tell you, we walked in the stadium. I looked at my buddy. I said, before the kickoff, I said, we better be ready to play. That's the loudest away crowd I believe I've ever heard. I mean, I've been to most of the SEC big stadiums. Man, I'm going to tell you, Death Valley, Athens, Tuscaloosa, they didn't have anything on the Swamp last week. I mean, that was a difficult place to play. The seats are right on top of you. I mean, it was so loud in there, and I know that a lot of people say, well, he's a freshman, he made mistakes. I'm telling you, it wouldn't have mattered if he was a junior. That's a tough environment to go in.
I know when the game kicked off, before the game kicked off, and I text my son, I said, I don't know if the microphones are just in the crowd or whatever. I said, but that's the loudest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And it was just a situation. I know we'll talk about the game probably in the next segment, but it was a situation where, getting back to Bo, I'm sure they're going to do some things to improve. It's not going to help matters with Booby being out. Yeah. But the old saying is next man up. And, which man that'll be, I think it'll be by committee until somebody steps forward, whether it be DJ, whether it be Shivers, whether it be Malik, whether it be Harold Joyner. Don't forget that name.
That's
I told you that name earlier.
Yep.
And so it'd be interesting to see which one of them picks up the weight, and whichever one can do that, because we got to run football to win. There's no doubt about that. And I think that we got away from that game plan a little bit in the first half and probably put a little bit too much on Bo. And you've heard Coach Malzahn talk about all week is he's got to do a better job of putting Bo in the right situations. You can't pamper him anymore because you're into 6 games, but you can probably put him in the right direction. We'll talk about that in the next segment.
Yeah. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we will dig deeper into Bo Nix, what he's got to do to make a step forward, and also talk more about that running game with the loss of Booby Whitlow. You're watching Track 'em Tigers.
She's ready! Extreme Power Sports' very own Polaris RZR Skylifter XP 1000. Trinity exhaust, power commander, 6-inch portals, RZR 3 to 5-inch lift, MSA 20-inch wheels wrapped with 35-inch BKTs, deluxe audio roof, LED light bar, mud park ready. We are ready to finance you on this Skylifter right now. Come check out all our off-road machines today at Extreme Power Sports.
Welcome back into Track 'em Tigers. Coach, you alluded in the last segment about the loss of Booby Whitlow. Tremendous loss, out 4 to 6 weeks. Some say maybe longer. Either way, like you said, it's next man up. DJ Williams getting a lot of talk this week. He's played sparingly, played in the second half against Mississippi State. Looked okay, but still a freshman. We don't know a lot about him. It's going to be by committee, I would imagine, going forward.
It will be. You know, your older backs are going to be the ones that you got to depend on third down.
Cam Martin starting, I assume.
And just from a standpoint of that, but you know, we got Cam. I mean, he's going to be fine, and DJ in the shop, like we mentioned before. Just a situation, but we got to be successful on first down. We can't get behind the chains, which we did a lot of times with communications. With, you know, the crowd had a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
But you got to overcome that. And the third downs, I think I heard a stat is, I think before we got the long drive that we took it down to have a chance to take the lead, I think we was 1 for 12 on third down.
Yeah.
And wasn't all of them, and a couple of them were short. And that was the confusing thing. I thought we probably tried to run the counters and so much against Florida, and their two defensive ends were just too quick.
Yeah.
And where the week before against Mississippi State, it was very good to us. I think we made the adjustments, but in the third quarter we came out and run straight at them, and then they was collapsing everything, and Booby was able to bounce outside. And you know, Jay, as bad as we played and bad as we looked,
had chances to win the game.
had chances to win the ball game, and we get the ball inside our 10, 17-13 game, and we started moving the ball, and we got it down. And we run the football, then we play action pass. That's when we at our best, when we can play action pass. And Bo hits Seth Williams, and if he if he throws it a half a yard short, he's going to walk in the end zone.
Yeah.
But he had to make a reach and catch and lost his balance. We came back right after that, quick hurry, and we run the quick screen. We missed a block, which we could have picked up good yardage. We came back on second down. Excellent play call. We had the slant route, had it perfect, and both threw it behind him.
Yeah, that was
And
huge miss.
third down, and then we jump off sides.
Yeah.
That put us in third and 15, and then Bo tried to force the ball that he shouldn't try to force,
Right.
and they intercepted it. And you know, if you get that, we take the lead. Besides that, defensively, I thought we played really good.
Tremendous.
Except for two plays.
I mean, Derek Brown's SEC Player of the Week on a losing team.
And the first play of I think the first play, or either first or second play, they hit the slant route, and basically they had us in a situation where we wasn't man, but when KJ is basically, when he came to his zone, I mean, when you got a slot receiver and an inside linebacker trying to cover him, it's not going to work. And then he busted that up and goes 72. And then late in the ball game, when P. Ryan broke the run, give Dan Mullen credit, he went quads to the field.
Explain what that is. When
They put all four wide receivers to the field.
Okay.
And so everything is to the left, and it's just you in the back. So what Auburn does is going to move both corner over. They got two corners, and they got two safeties because they're in a nickel package. And the only thing left on this side is a safety. KJ which has played great all year. He kind of got shielded by the tackle, but he fought through that, and he made the tackle. They hit on P. Ryan, but he didn't lock up. And give P. Ryan credit, he bounced off. Now the problem was, I thought our safety was too deep. It is tough to tackle in the open field, and it's one of the most hardest things to do. So you want to close that angle down a little bit. But Daniel, being a senior, and he'll tell you this right now, he's got to get him out of bounds. It ain't got to be a devastating tackle, but he's got to knock him out of bounds and hold it to a 20-yard gain instead of an 88-yard gain.
Yeah.
So you take those two plays, and that's more than half their offense. But you can't take them away.
Yeah. Gus caught a little bit of heat for Anthony Schwartz only getting one go-to. I thought the game plan as a whole wasn't bad. Auburn just wasn't able to execute, and you got to give Florida credit for that. Like you said, I mean, they took away a lot.
They were. I mean, but Florida was by far the best defense that we've seen. And but it's still a situation that there were some things that we left points on the board. Some hidden things where we had people wide open and we just didn't see it. And but hopefully the offense will correct those mistakes and we'll get better this week.
Yeah. You got a freshman quarterback. He's, for the first time in his career, catching heat. Message boards, everything else. It's the way fans are. unwarranted. I mean, he's a freshman. We knew it
Unbelievable.
was going. It's just the society we live in now. He's completed 55% of his passes on the year. Great leadership. How do you coach him this week? They say he's been spot on in practice.
Well,
How do you manage that?
well, like I said, you don't have to worry about Bo. I mean, he's going to grow with time. The main thing is that Bo's got a lot of confidence in himself, and he's just, like he said, like I said earlier, he's his own worst critic. So he's going to try to do the things to correct. And what we got to do is just put him in a good situation. Auburn's not a very good third down and long passing team. We're more of a run the football, play action type pass. When we can do that, we're pretty successful. So I think they got to put him in them situations right there. But the biggest thing is something needs to come out and happen early, good for Bo, and to get that. Yeah, I'm not going to say get his confidence back because I don't think he's lost it. I mean, this kid's been starting since he's been in 8th grade. And he's been through the battles. Maybe not the tough battles like he just faced in Florida, but maybe that'll prepare him for later games at Arkansas, at LSU, that's upcoming.
Yeah. There's nobody more popular on the team than the backup quarterback. It's like that everywhere, I think. I thought Florida did a good job against LSU of utilizing a 2-quarterback system at times. Auburn has not really gone to Gatewood a whole lot. I don't think he was even in the game. I don't remember him getting a play in Gainesville. Do you? I'm not saying put him in. I'm not going there. I mean, Nix is the quarterback, but do you utilize him in some packages more?
I think maybe probably last Saturday we probably could have used him just to give Bo just nothing else, just to say take a break, observe things for a series. I believe. You don't know what's going on through the week, and you don't know the practice situation. I mean, we're not there. We don't know. I got a lot of trust in these coaches. They're going to do the right thing. But if everything is okay, with Boobie being out, I think you're going to see Joey Moore now in the Wildcat type of situation.
Yeah.
Because, being 245 pounds on that short, on the goal line packages and on 3rd and shorts, I think you'll see him more on that. So, just got to wait and see.
I want to ask you something as a coach, because you talk about watching how they practice during the week and all that. Don't know if you've had a chance to watch. There's a great documentary on Herschel and Bo and back in the 80s and all that aired on the SEC Network. And they had Vince Dooley on there, and he said, leading up to the Tennessee game back in 1980 when Herschel came on as a freshman and became a phenom, he said he showed us nothing in practice that led us to believe he would be who he was when game time started. You ever coached anybody like that?
Oh, yeah. Plenty of them. When them lights come on, they become a different person. Bo Jackson wasn't a practice player.
Well, yeah, that's what I hear.
But they knew he was a winner, and I think he was a practice player from talking to Coach Dye and Coach Casey back in the day. That freshman year, he was a practice player, but after that, I know one time the old story about Bo was. Him and Coach Casey got into it. He just didn't understand why we got to do all this running. He said, I don't have to do all this running. And but
probably didn't sit good with Bud Casey.
No, not at all.
On his personality.
But some players, you got to know the personality. Some players are, when you turn the lights on, they become better players. But they got to have them practice habits though, where you can get that trust in them.
Yeah.
So both of them turned out pretty good.
Yeah, interesting take. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to dial into Arkansas and talk about Saturday's matchup. You're watching Track 'em Tigers.
RZR XP has earned its place as the world's best-selling performance side-by-side. Now, the off-road's most successful Predator looks even hungrier. For 2019, RZR XPs are cut more aggressively. The chiseled muscular style, premium digital instruments, and wicked LED accents all hint at the heart of the animal within. Choose a Ride Command edition with off-road worthy touchscreen that puts total control at your fingertips. Or grab a Dynamics edition and discover the terrain-dominating power of smart suspension. Extreme performance has never looked so good. Build your XP at PolarisRZR.com.
And welcome back in. Coach, Auburn's prohibited favorite. We've talked about that, 16.5, 17-point favorite, wherever you want to look at. Auburn's got a lot to work on this week.
They do, and hopefully the bye week cleared that up. I think with the senior leadership that we got, I think we're going to go out there with a chip on our shoulder. And I really like how this season, it must be the calendar way it failed, but we got 2 bye weeks. And so we went through the gauntlet with the first 6 games. Now we got 3 pretty tough games, and we get a bye, and then we got the last 3. And I looked at the 2020 schedule, there's only 1 bye in there. And I think Auburn's going to play like 8 straight weeks, then they get a bye, and then they got to finish up with the last 4. It could be 7 straight weeks. But I like how this is broke up, and I'm sure the coaches and the players do too. But, I mean, the little things we got to work on. I mean, our defense, like I said, we gave up some passes. When you're going to play man-to-man as much as we play, you're going to have some pass interference. People kept saying, why can't we get turnovers? It's hard to get turnovers playing man-to-man because you're playing the man, not the ball. And so it's tough to do that. I would like to see maybe us mix in some zones sometimes. And Coach Steele did that against Florida because the short passing game was killing us. And they wasn't going to burn us deep. So he made some adjustments and did that. And, you know, you got to give their quarterback a lot of credit.
Absolutely.
I mean, when he went down, I said, that's the end of that kid's career when he got hit. And it wasn't a dirty play, Dan Mullen. It was a situation that when Marlon Davidson was just coming in from behind, and the guy was holding him.
No, it was clean as it.
Why don't you call a holding call? I don't know. But after that, then he just kind of pushed him in. You know, he pushed him down into it. He had nowhere else to go. But for that kid to come back and not really hurt us, but you know, for them to get some first downs and keep the ball out of our hands some, my hat's off to him. And for him to come back the way he played against LSU, I thought it was an admirable job.
Yeah, we talked last week. Kid never started as a quarterback in high school.
Never.
Craziest thing I've ever seen.
I saw a clip that after we talked about that last week. I went back and saw a clip of his old high school coach, and he was talking about it was another good quarterback that was there.
The Houston quarterback.
And,
I can't remember his name, but he's the starter.
He was
Houston.
starter there,
Yeah.
but he says, you know, people are going to look back 5 years from now and think we were idiots for not playing this kid. Yeah. And but the kid hung in there, and he was not a walk-on. He went to a Florida camp, and McElwain liked what he saw because the kid he's got pretty good touch. And it was a situation where Florida had an available scholarship, and they offered him if he wanted to be a Gator. The only offer he had.
Yeah.
And for him to sit there for 4 years, and he could have went that transfer portal and went to a smaller division and played, but he was a Gator.
Yeah.
And
correct me if I'm wrong, but on the college level, thinking going way back, an NFL Hall of Famer, Kevin Green, I don't know that Kevin Green started a whole lot his senior year at Auburn.
He didn't. He was sort of like Kevin, like came off the bench.
Yeah.
And it was almost like a third down specialist, you know, as far as pass rush. And but there towards the end of the year, they couldn't get him off the field.
Yeah.
And but
turned out okay for him.
It did.
It turned out for Trask too. Talk about the offensive line. What did step forward, step back, about the same?
About the same. I thought we was making some progress. I thought Florida's front was pretty decent, and I thought and their linebackers was really, really good. And we had some stalemates. I mean, we had some good moments. I mean, you know, as far as the pressure on Bo, it wasn't really a whole lot of pressure. We had the one where he stood back there, and they wasn't really the offensive line fault. It was a coverage sack. And when Bo had to scramble to the right and end up scrambling to his left and getting ready to throw the ball out of bounds, and he stumbled and he couldn't, and you know that takes us out of field goal range. So I mean, you know, our offensive line they're going to have to basically carry us these last 6 ball games. They've been touted. They've all been together. It's going to be hard to dominate some fronts that we still got left to play, but the majority they're going to have to win. They're going to have to win the battles. You know, like we said last week, you know, football is a game of is a war, and within that war is a game of battles. And I was telling my kids the other day, you know, if you got 10 battles, if you can win 7 of them, you got a chance to win. Because you're not going to win all of them, but you got to win the majority of them. So hopefully our offensive line can do that. Hopefully our defensive line, boy, our backups are playing really good. And
That's made all the difference.
And that really helps, and it's by playing 4 linebackers. Everybody's kind of down on the secondary. I like our secondary. Number 4's got to keep his hands to himself a little bit.
Tough Saturday.
And
Yeah.
it's almost like when you get a couple like that, then they're just going to start picking on you because they the refs already seen it, and you become like you're under a microscope. But he's a winner, so and he'll be okay.
Yeah. All right. Looking at Arkansas, Auburn's going for their 4th straight win, which would be the first time they've done that against Arkansas. Hard to believe. They've lost 18 of their last 19 conference games, dating back to I think 2017, if I'm not mistaken. 18 of their last 19. You had a chance to watch them a little bit this weekend. I didn't get to really watch any of it. What concerns you about them, if anything?
Number 1, they're hungry. They've been close the last 2 ball games. They probably should have beat Kentucky, to be honest with you. The Hicks kids, a transfer that played with Morris at SMU, and he knows that offense, and he really did a really good job. But, the scary part was Tennessee last year.
Yeah.
It's because they hadn't won a conference game in so long.
Eerily similar.
And so that the thing about it is that if we go out there and take care of business, okay, now Chad's he's going to have all kind of things up his sleeve, but we got to control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and hopefully we're going to have better athletes than what they're going to have. And if we can do that, then we should be okay.
Let me ask you, none of the coaches on campus would admit it. Are they peeking around the corner at LSU already?
I don't think so. Just from a situation, if they might have been, South Carolina got their attention real quick because anything can happen.
So you don't prepare, you don't. You're a 16.5-point favorite. I know you don't overlook them, but you don't start maybe putting a little bit in. No way.
Not on this level. Now, we used to try to fool our kids. We would put some things in and say, look, this is probably what they're going to be doing, knowing good and well that this team wasn't going to do this, like Jeff Davis wasn't going to do this, but Robert E. Lee probably was going to do that, just try to get a little heads up. But no, now, you got your analyst that everybody's hired. Each one of them's probably got a particular game. So somebody's already broken down LSU.
Yeah.
They did it back in the summer.
And an analyst, I was listening to a coach on the radio this week. He said, I challenge you to go to practice and tell me which one are the analysts and which one are the coaches. They said it's that blurred now.
Well, you know what they make them do? They make them wear at Auburn, a light blue hat. It's not Auburn colors. It's almost like North Carolina. And they have to wear those hats to where if somebody does come in, they can identify who they are.
They can identify it? It's interesting.
So, man, I don't know. Now, that was a couple of years ago. I don't know if they still do that or not.
Yeah.
But the analysts, you had to be able to, a way to define.
That was your buddy Rick Newsheisel that said that. He told me to tell you hello, too.
Roll Rick. I'm beginning to like him a little better since you started liking him.
All right. So as we wrap this thing up, looking at the SEC going forward, what are your thoughts? How do you see things going into we're past halfway. We're in week 8.
Well, I'm going to make a lot of Alabama fans happy right now. I think they're the cream of the crop.
Absolutely.
I think offensively, I just don't know how you stop that. If you pack the box, they're going to throw the slants and the goes and everything else off of it. If you play the receivers, they're going to run Najee Harris. And to his credit, Joe Burrow's getting a lot of accolades, and rightfully so, but he's not in the same league as Tua, in my opinion.
Really? You don't think so?
No, I don't. And I think LSU's offense is way better than what they have, but I don't think they're in the same classification as Alabama. Yeah. After that, I think you can take LSU, you can probably take Georgia, you can probably take Auburn, you can take Florida and put them all together, and you don't know. And then you take that next tier, and if you don't play the best you can, they're going to beat you. I mean, I watched Ole Miss the other night. I mean, Lord Almighty knows, at times they look like world beaters.
Yeah.
I mean, they've rushed for over 300 yards against every SEC opponent. So I mean, it's just a matter of you got to come out ready to play each and every week. And but right now, I think everybody's still chasing Alabama, with LSU a close second behind, and I think the rest of us are right there.
It's starting to get fun.
It's going to get fun. It's going to be an interesting 6 weeks.
Yep. Auburn takes on Arkansas this Saturday at noon on the SEC Network. Hope everybody has a good weekend, and War Eagle.
War Eagle.